Western Mongolia is a stunning place for a motorcycle tour. The scenery's just mind-blowing, and the nomads that call this giant expanse of land home leave such a tiny footprint that the vast steppe feels untouched, undiscovered, almost prehistoric. It's also bloody difficult. The roads, where there's any roads at all, vary from okay to treacherous, and the weather in autumn can close in on you so fast you hardly know what hit you. It took 10 of us to hold the mess tent to the ground through this crazy storm on our second night, while the cooking tent flew off in the wind, never to be seen again. I've just never felt so isolated, so far from anywhere. Towns and fuel stops are few and far between, and yet you're never alone. Wildlife and herd animals are everywhere, from yaks, cows, sheep, ibex and camels, to squirrels, marmots, hawks and eagles. And of course horses. Dozens of herds of horses running through the plains because, hey, we're horses. Our bikes for this trip? Royal Enfield Bullet 500s. They're heavy, low-tech, and pretty slow. Not the kind of bike I'd normally go for. But they make a funny kind of sense out here.
How do you even get terrain like this? How the f*** does this happen?
Any more engine or braking power, and you might get yourself in real trouble. They're comfy on and off-road like a kind of dirt cruiser, and they can take a pretty impressive amount of abuse. Best of all, when something does bend or break, our mechanic Gufram can generally fix it with a rock, a steel tube, a hammer, maybe a screwdriver. They feel kind of indestructible. Could you do this kind of trip alone and get bonus adventure points? Yeah, probably. I don't know if I'd have the courage to go so far out into the middle of nowhere without guides that speak the language and know the terrain. I certainly wouldn't have found the stunning array of campsites these guys took us to. And I appreciated the hell out of the fact I could just throw all my gear in one of the support vans and ride. Those vans came in pretty handy too when a few soldiers started going down. Like Howie, who did 6 ribs and punctured his lung and had to get a medevac flight back to Australia with the help of the crew. Dougie here broke 3 ribs and his lungs started filling up with gunk, but he got back on the bike and finished the ride out. Murphy got a bit of a bruise and chipped a nail and rode the rest of the way in the van. They were just the unlucky ones. Everyone fell off at least 3 or 4 times. The fact is, riding Western Mongolia is an adventure, even if you do have hair and makeup trucks following you around Ewan and Charlie style. It's a country as unforgiving as it is unforgettable, and I sure appreciated the chance to do it in fine company without having to think about logistics.